Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Transformational Thursday. I am Michele with From Nine to Thrive, and thank you so much for joining us again on one of these wonderful, impactful, transformational Thursdays. So, today is how do we build a business that aligns with our passion? And we've talked about skills and how to decide what kind of business we're going to do, but in the end, you really want to build something that we're talking about where that aligns with your passion. That's where the magic's going to be. That is where you're going to build the business around what truly lights you up, which is your passion. So, when you do things and you try to start a business that's solely based on, I gotta make money, I have to make money, it becomes cumbersome and it's very difficult to get up out of bed in the morning because you're like, oh, I gotta go do that again. It becomes a job that we're trying to escape from, right? It becomes a chore. And when you find your passion, these are the things that you do that you can get totally lost in for hours and you look up and go, oh, man, it's been 2 hours because your brain is going, oh, I like this, feed me more. So why does passion matter? And I know you're thinking, Michele, passion matters. Of course passion matters. Why wouldn't it matter? But let's explain why passion matters in business. It's going to keep you motivated on those really tough days. It's going to fuel your creativity and it's going to help you stand out in the crowded market because people are going to know that you are authentic, that you really care, that you're just not selling something to make a buck. You really are invested and you care about what you're doing. So, we talked about this mindset shift. Instead of asking, how can I make money? Ask, what am I excited to do that solves a problem or adds value to others? And that is where the magic happens because you're not all about making the money. You're about trying to make magic and helping people. So, how do you discover your core passions? First and foremost, let's ask some questions that you can reflect on. So, number one, what lights you up? Think about topics that somebody asks you a question about and you could go on and on about, almost to the point that their eyes glaze and they're like, I am so sorry I asked this question. What could you do and talk about that you don't even care if you get paid about for? Number two, what problems are you naturally drawn to solve? For me, I love sitting down and working with people and coaching them on how to get their businesses going, answering those questions of how can we get you to where you want to be. Often this question of what problems are you naturally drawn to solve, often it's what it irritates us or what intrigues us. That's what points us to where our passions lie. Number three, what compliments do you always receive? Sometimes other people see our strengths before we even see our strengths. And if you are constantly getting, hey, you know what? You're really good at this. Can you help me with this? Because you are fabulous at this. That might be a hint in the universe saying to you, hey, guess what? This might be your thing. And then number four, what skills or hobbies have you developed over the years? What skills and hobbies are you naturally drawn to? Are you curious that you want to learn more about that you think others should learn about? So those are some core questions and guiding questions that you can ask yourself on trying to determine, hey, what is my passion if I have no idea what it is? So once you have identified this passion, and keep in mind, this passion may change and pivot as you grow and as you develop your business. But let's start initially off with the idea of how do you turn that passion into a profitable idea? And we talk about this a lot. Number one, and there's these steps. Step one, identify your target audience. Who needs what you need to who needs what you need to offer? What's their age, their pain points, their lifestyle? Create that whole conversation around that story brand method of Talk about your hero. Tell me about your hero. That's your target audience. Step number 2, analyze the market. What's already out there that is either servicing the providing the service or is a product that's trying to address the problem? And where do you fit? Is there a gap? Do you have a unique way to approach it? Where I come in is I have over a dozen years of experience in venture capital. And so I have helped launch companies, mentored them, and got them to a position where they have taken an idea out of the air, put it on a cocktail napkin, and commercialized it. So that's my unique skills that I bring to this conversation. Step number 3, test the waters, do surveys, run polls, offer a mini version or a free version to gauge interest. If you get overwhelmed, you're onto something. If you put something out there and nobody bites, it's time to rethink it. Maybe it's your messaging, maybe it's the product, maybe it's the way you have framed your service. Think about that. Step number 4, craft a value proposition. So pinpoint how your passion solves a real problem or fulfills a desire and focus on that transformation. Again, going back to the story brand method, your hero has a problem and you are their guide. And how are you going to guide them to a transformation? And then you're going to guide them along and show them how your service, your product takes them to where they want to be. And then step number 5, this to me is important, monetization strategy. Figure out how are you going to make money doing this? There are things that we love to do and that we will do all day without being paid. But in the end, that doesn't pay the mortgage, doesn't get us our freedom that we want. So we have to figure out how are we going to make money doing our passion. So are you a product-based business? So are you doing physical or digital products? Are you doing handmade items and are you doing ebooks? Figure out how are you going to market them, get them out there, get them made, put them in distribution. Are you service-based like I am? You provide coaching and consulting or freelancing or teaching. Are you going to do courses? Are you going to do one-on-one coaching? Figure out how are you going to make money? And then there's obviously a combination, a hybrid, a little of each can go a long way. So now we've talked about, okay, identifying your passion. How do we then market and figure out, is this something that we can actually do? So now let's look at avoiding common pitfalls. There's always those issues and those times where stuff just happens. So pitfall number 1, you lack clarity. You're trying to solve everybody's problems with everything. No, what we need to do, and when you're not getting people to convert and you're not bringing in clients, it's because you weren't clear and they don't truly understand what you're trying to do. So learn how to be specific about what you offer and who you serve, because vague ideas don't sell. Because if they don't know what you're doing and you can't communicate it very well, you're not going to sell anything. So let's be clear. So pitfall number 1, lack of clarity. Pitfall number 2, overwhelm. Start small. There is so many places that you can go with your business and so many things you can offer, and you can do an ebook and you can do a course and you could do this product and that product. Find one thing that you can do very well or a service that you do very well. Learn it, craft it, and then get that down pat and learn how to deliver that very well. And then move on to the next one. So instead of throwing a bunch of things up on the wall and say, oh, hey, this could work, let's try them all. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to overwhelm your customers, and that's just simply not going to work. Pitfall number 3, waiting for perfection. I can tell you that I have launched things too late. I've waited for it to be perfect, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's never going to be perfect. So perfectionism is going to get you stuck. Launch when it's good enough. Not when it's perfect, but when it's good enough. And then you improve on as you get feedback. Here's some takeaways and exercises I want you to do as you start to figure out on this Transformational Thursday, how do you build a business out of your passion? Quick exercise number one is I want you to do a brain dump. Set a timer for 5 minutes and list all of your passions and skills. Just don't even think about them, filter them, just fill it out. And then I want you to do a matchmaking exercise. Draw lines between passions and problems that they can solve. So in one column, when you do your brain dump, I want you to list all of your passions. And then on the other column, I want you to do problems that you feel you can solve. Are there any connections that you can make? And then I want you to prioritize those matchmaking ideas. Which ones could you deliver on today? And implement this immediately if you haven't decided what your business is. Decide, where can I start? At least it's a starting point. And then you can say, this might have worked, that didn't work. This is what I needed to do, because that's the thing about business. It's going to pivot. It's going to change. It's going to grow and evolve as you do. I want you to head over to from9tothrive.com. Check out all of our resources over there. And you're also going to see a little bit of fun things that I do, because it's not all about building a business. It's about building a life. And over there, you're going to find cocktail recipes and ways to questions that you can ask bartenders. It's what I call Ask the Bartender. There are questions over there that you're probably afraid to ask your bartender, but it's like how to order certain wines and things like that. There's also a little bit of hints and insights into places that we travel to. First and foremost, you know that I'm a Disney geek, so there's lots of information on Disney, but there's places up and down where we are and what we do, and places that we explore, and giving you ideas of what life can look like when you live it on your own terms and you escape the 9 to 5 and escape that cubicle. That's what we're here about. We're here to transform and be better us's and better people as we move through 2025. I know us's isn't grammatically correct, but it just felt right. In the meantime, I want you to stay thriving. I want you to be the best that you can be, because I know you can. And that's what I'm here to do. So if you are stuck and you have absolutely no idea what to do, book a coaching session with me. Let's talk. Let's sit down and say, okay, obviously we're going to sit down virtually, but let's sit down and figure out, where are you? What do you want to do? What are your goals? And how can we put a plan in place together? I'm not going to do the work, and I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm your guide. I'm going to show you how you can do it, and you can be the best you can possibly be.